guys, it's Conrad here from the LUKA State and you're watching Loud TV. It was certainly a different writing process, not necessarily a recording process, but a different writing process. So on the first record, it was very much a sense that I was writing the songs on my own, bringing them to the band, and we were making the songs together. Whereas on this record, we were writing songs from the ground up with absolutely nothing on some of them. On some songs, we were literally writing from the ground up. And we had means to our own studio. So after the first record, we made our own studio, a home studio. So what we had the access to do was write the music, record the music, and then I could take home a finished piece of music and then take it home and listen to it and write lyrics and melody to the music. So I'm not necessarily doing it on the spot as much. I was doing it at home where I could really intricately go through drafts and after draft. And then when I had a melody and lyrics, I could take it to the band and present it that way. So that was very, very, very helpful to have means to do that. So it was a completely different process. Because we had access to do that, I could go deeper and I think that's why this record touches on so many issues, you know, social issues, political issues. We talk about my mental health and substance abuse and the traumas I've faced and all these kind of things that are difficult to talk about in face-to-face conversations, so to speak. But in music, they translate in a different way, and it's easier for people to listen to talk about once it's in the form of music. So I think it was easier to be deeper and be more personal myself, to write about more personal things. I don't think that was a conscious decision. I think it came out subconsciously because we never went into the writing process with any influences to start writing. We just wrote from the ground up, and whatever came out, came out. So that's why the genres is so they're different, and it's heavier and it's more driving, as you say. It's the bass playing is different because we've developed as musicians, we've developed as people since the first record. So it becomes a natural process to develop in sound, I think. So, which is really interesting because we change constantly anyway as people, don't we? So you should change as musicians and as songwriters, I guess. So what were the roles of Dan Austin and Adrian in the writing? I think almost certainly to come in and push us sonically was the main thing that we were after. Someone who could get a grip of our sound and make us sound huge and make us sound like a force to be reckoned with. I think that's very important. But I think also getting Dan and Adrian on board as well, what also was important was them understanding the message of the record, that we were going to be touching on some difficult subjects. You know, we were going to be talking about social and political issues that we face in society today. We were going to be talking about mental health, and we were going to be talking about all these topics that we find it hard to talk about today. So having them on board, they only pushed the songwriting process even more because they knew what we were going for, and just wanted us to be as authentic and as ourselves as we possibly could be. And obviously sonically they're both incredibly anyway, so it was nice to have a caliber of producer as them guys on the record anyway. So yeah, the topics are difficult, but I think there's not enough rock and roll music at the moment that touches on these topics, you know, that talks about social and political issues and mental health. And it all stemmed from me working during the pandemic delivering food parcels to vulnerable families who were less fortunate than myself. And I wrote More Than This, the song More Than This, the title track, based upon a family that I was working with. She was a single mother of 2 boys. She lost both jobs due to the way the world was, struggling to make ends meet, and it was heartbreaking, you know. And I started writing this song because I wanted to tell the story through her eyes. I wanted to tell her story and her family's story. And also because there are thousands of other families in the UK at the moment that are experiencing this now. Not even families, even people who are in full-time work, who are reliant and dependent on food banks. So that kind of was the catalyst one side, sussed that I could be this vulnerable songwriter and I could open up my emotions on paper and put them in songs, that I was able to do this. So once I started doing that, it kind of came easy and natural to me to start talking about my mental health and start documenting it. And I think we live in a society where there's a stigma surrounding mental health that we can't talk about it. There's even a bigger stigma that men can't talk about mental health, which I think is bullshit. You know, the strongest thing we can do is talk about it. So these songs are also to help people, you know, because if people can listen to our music and find solace in our music, that they know I've been in that position, then I think that's the power and beauty of music.
Or art.
Or art, or any form of creativity. You know, creativity is a beautiful thing. And music is power. I have this saying that music is power. It really is. And we can have the ability to change, make positive change through music and through other avenues of art and creativity. We just need to be serious about it and act upon those things that we're passionate about, which is why we're being passionate about the food bank side of things and the mental health side of things.
It reminds me Charles Dickens tales, you know.
Yeah.
Books, and it's always the same shit, you know.
Do you know what's fucking crazy is that has society really moved on since then? That's what's kind of crazy. I think there's so many parodies now to the way the UK is now to the way it was in the 70s. You know, I feel that they're very similar. I think the working class is still very at the bottom of the pecking order, and it's still not managed to make a leap up. And that's why on this record we're trying to make positive change with our music. So, for instance, it's all good me sat here talking about the food banks and talking about making change and positive change, but if we're not doing anything to make an impact and show that we care about this, then what the fuck are we doing it for? So we've launched an initiative in the UK at the moment that every ticket that's bought to the shows, a percentage of that money gets donated to the Trussell Trust. Now, the Trussell Trust are a UK food bank charity that delivers to vulnerable people and families. So every ticket that's bought, a percentage goes towards the Trussell Trust and helps provide a meal for a person or a family. We've gone as far as our physical sales, vinyl and CD. When you buy them, a percentage of that will go towards the food bank and help put food on the table for vulnerable people and less fortunate families. And this is what I'm saying about making positive change through the power of art and through the power of music. And that's what we're trying to do in this band, is make positive change. So, yeah, hopefully we can do that.
Do you know the UK band Kid Capici?
Yes, yeah. Great band. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal band.
And they told me, I said, what's wrong was England? And they said to me, what's right?
What's right with fuck, yeah. Yeah, you're quite right. And yeah, we speak to those guys quite a lot. What a band, fucking amazing band first and foremost. The album's absolutely fantastic. We're kind of in the same kind of sphere, kind of talking about the same kind of topics. And it's good for that to be happening in rock and roll at the moment. I feel like there's not enough of it going on. I feel like there's not enough bands and enough rock and roll music that's telling the truth about the way things are. And that's what, to me, that's why this needs to happen, you know, and that's why this needs to happen. For instance, I'll tell you a story. So the meal ticket initiative for us to do that with this meal ticket of helping out, providing meals through the Trussell Trust through tickets. That came from the inspiration of the Manchester United footballer Marcus Rashford. So Marcus Rashford took on the English government single-handedly to provide free school lunches, free school dinners, I'll say lunches though, free school lunches to children who were less fortunate than others, to provide free school dinners when everything was going tits up in the UK, when everything was going wrong. He took the government on and won, right? So someone of that caliber using their platform for positive change. So if someone like that can do it in football, why can't we do this in music, you know? And I feel that we should be able to do this in music, and we should be able to make the change that we see is possible, that we think is possible. So that's where that comes from. And yeah, we're hoping that people get on board with it and people understand the message and the music carries itself, you know. But there's a positive message with this second album, and that's one thing that we're very proud of. I think on the first record it was about growing up as a young man in a working class town and singing about those stories that we encounter as we're growing up. But I feel like this record is me still as a young man, but being very awake and being present in the moment and seeing what needs fixing and what needs doing to make this world a better place. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, you know. I think to be aware of what's going on in our surroundings and in society, to realise that we need more kindness and more love and compassion, I think that's a very important attribute to have as a human, you know. So that's why this second album, yeah, we've gone all deep, man, we've gone all in. But that's the way it is, and that's, I guess, whatever you're going through in your life at that moment in time, that's what the album's gonna be, and that's what the topics of the album are gonna be, and that's what it will entail, is what you're going through at that moment in time of when you were writing those songs. And I guess this is what we've gone through. This collection of songs is what I've gone through as a person, as an individual, and what we've gone through as a band. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was eye-opening, soul-searching, incredible, just to get out there and play so many shows in such a short space of time. I think we did 32 gigs in 6 weeks, non-stop. We tour managed it ourselves, so we were constantly driving and gigging. It was amazing, yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. We toured with a really good band from New York called Mickey James, Mickey James, and yeah, it was just all around amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And you know what, there's so many comparisons in America to Northern England. Like, it's really weird. Like it's under the South of America. There's a lot of kind of comparisons. It's underfunded. It's all working class. It's really, really strange of how similar it is. The homelessness rate is through the roof. The north of England and the south of America are very similar in ways that you can only imagine until you see it with your own eyes. Food banks, people queuing down the road to get food. That happens every day. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I'm from a small town of what? How many people? 20,000 people? Maybe less? And we have 2 food banks. It's crazy. They have 2 drop-in centres weekly. It's crazy, man. Crazy. But yeah, America was amazing. Sorry, I went off on a tangent then. I do apologise. I do apologise.
Will you return? Will you return?
Oh yeah, 100%. I absolutely fucking love America. It's amazing. They're very beautiful people. Beautiful people, beautiful place. The gigs are amazing. The crowds are amazing. You've got to be careful on the food though. Like the food can catch up with you if you're not careful. you have to look after yourself a bit better. But yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. So we can't wait to get back there.
But first, Europe.
Europe first, yeah, coming up this April. So we're coming to France, coming to Paris on the 18th of April. We're playing a free, you heard me, a free gig at Supersonic. It's going to be a first come, first serve basis. I think you just turn up on the door and when it's full, it's full. Bear in mind the last 2 shows in Paris sold out, so hopefully it'll be a full capacity gig. We can't wait. So we start in England, we do England and Scotland, and then we come over to, I think we do Paris, and then we do a bit of Germany, Berlin, and then a bit of the Netherlands as well in Amsterdam, and then we go home. Then I'm guessing we'll be back again in the summer, no doubt about it. So we're excited, very, very excited. What's the most difficult thing? I think being in a band and being an artist, you have to have a level of resilience about yourself. And I think rejection and failure comes a lot with being an artist and being in a band. So there's always going to be moments that you turned away. There's always going to be moments that a door closes. But failure only can make us stronger. And having that resilience to overcome the no's and the maybes and the maybe next times, that's the most difficult thing about being in a band. But on the contrary to that, the perseverance and the effort that you put in and the way you navigate your way through the industry to come out on top. For instance, for me to be sat in Paris here today talking to you, now that's worth all the resilience and all the effort and hard work in the world, you know what I mean? So being in a band's beautiful, amazing, outrageous, but also can be stressful. But it's amazing and yeah, it's great. So thank you very much for having us and see you at Supersonic.